Hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining us on this edition of Armchair ESG with Nate and Yates. I'm Rob Yates, Owl's Director of Communications. With me, as always, my partner in crime, Nate Najaro, Head of Product for OWL ESG. How you doing today, Nate?
Doing great, Rob. Good to see you again. Like the
Always.
tie.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm trying to, keep it classy.
Nice.
And because today we have a very special guest with us, Nate, you want to introduce our guest?
Yeah, today we have another one of our fearless leaders, Andrew Koo, who is the Chief Technology Officer here at OWL ESG. So excited to have him on. Just like Ben, who we had in last time, he has limited time because he's busy with so many things in this growing company. So thank you, Andrew, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. No, I'm incredibly excited to be on here. I've heard a lot of great things.
We will try to live up to them. So just jumping in, Andrew, you are the Chief Technology Officer. You are the brains behind the brawn, perhaps. But who is Andrew Koo, the person? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, a little bit about myself. My name is Andrew Koo. I currently actually live in the same city as our CEO, Ben, sunny Los Angeles. I am a family man. I have my wife and my two kids with me here. And, it feels like, they're at the age right now where that's a lot of what I do during my spare time. So yeah, that's sort of who I am. I'm actually originally from Hong Kong, but have lived in various different places and settled here for a good 20 years. So been here ever since.
So let me follow up on that. In full disclosure, I lived in Hong Kong for a couple of years. Andrew and I have discussed this. What type of food does the US miss on the most? And I have an answer for this one too.
Oh gosh. Oh man, there's just so much. I think it isn't, how should I put it? I think there's a lot of different expressions of food, and I think that's sort of what's missing. It's a lot of times when you get various different cultures, a lot of the times it's you only get a glimpse, if you're in a different country. So I think that's really what's missing.
It's funny, people that have been there don't realize, but there's a Chinese restaurant in Hong Kong called the American Restaurant, where you can go get American style Chinese food. Because there's not Chinese food, there's Sichuan food, Cantonese food, Hunan food. But what I was getting at, I miss really good hot pot more than anything. I found some pretty good places, but nothing that matches what Hong Kong can do.
Yeah, I'm actually a huge foodie, and so hot pot's definitely one of the things that, the food is good, but I think what's really great about it is really that sort of bonding experience, and just sitting around in around a round table, and just sharing great food.
It's you're spot on. It was an eye-opening experience living there, Nate. I'll tell you, some of the best hot pot restaurants would book months out, and you'd go in at 7, and that's what you're doing until midnight or 1 in the morning. You're getting 12 or 15 people. You're all just passing it around. It's a huge social event. I miss it.
Yeah, well, you guys are making me hungry now. It's a little later here, in the central United States. And so, yeah, I've been to Southeast Asia, but never Hong Kong. So looking forward to getting there someday. So,
Well, that's actually a really good segue, because I want to ask you about what made you join OWL. And we do have it's a very collegial, a very fraternal, very familial feel at this company. So what was it that brought you in, made you join OWL?
I think I think first and foremost, I'm a technologist, right? And I think for me, OWL was really an opportunity to work on something very interesting with, a lot of what we're doing with AI, et cetera. I think in addition to that, I was at a point in my career where I wanted to work on something that I would think have a little bit more of an impact, right? I've been in various different roles and industries as well as a technologist, and I think for me, ESG really was that thing that drew me in as well.
Yeah, so touching upon that, Andrew, you talk about AI. We do machine readable comprehension here at OWL ESG, and also, so two-part question: what is machine readable comprehension, and also how does that differ from Chat GPT? So everybody's talking about Chat GPT. My kids are talking about Chat GPT. My mailman knows about Chat GPT. It's in the ether all over the world. So yeah, first of all, give us a background on machine readable comprehension, and then how we're different than the Chat GPT that people hear about in their day-to-day
Yeah,
lives.
yeah, no, for sure. I think a big part of our business is data, right? And more often than not, data never really comes in the form of something that's readily consumable. Ultimately, what it is it's part of a piece of our technology that allows us to extract the data that we care about from everyday text and documents, et cetera, from prose and various different ways of expressing the information that people are trying to get across. And so for our MRC, it's actually not too unlike ChatGPT, rather the GPT models. Our technology does have a component that is an AI language model, but it is a little bit different in that because one of the most important things about technology is really applying the right technology in the right way. And for us, we selected a different model because what we were ultimately looking to do is extract data. And what we've selected is a little bit better in understanding context surrounding text, right? And able to really pull down what we want, versus, let's say, if something isn't context aware at all, we would essentially be doing just the plain search, right? And so I think what ChatGPT is really good at, and the GPT model is to determine and come up with the output that you want. So a lot of it is very abstractive. So let's say you wanted, an article in the voice of Bugs Bunny, it would be able to do that, right? And I think it's sort of two sides of the coin. What's really interesting is that we are leveraging some of that technology here at OWL, and so we'll be able to get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and there's an element of human in the loop, correct, with machine readable comprehension, correct? So can you explain what that means for the people out there?
Yeah.
So Andrew, you're talking like I have no idea what this is. Break it down for me.
Yeah, and so as with any language models, right? A lot of times when you're and AI models, a lot of times when you're extracting things, data, information, it won't get it right the first time, right? And over time, as you give the system feedback saying, hey, this is the correct item to extract given this context, then it will continue to learn over time and get better at doing that. So something that we constantly strive for is just higher confidence level that something that we've extracted is accurate, and that we're able to trace back to what we've extracted specifically very easily and transparently. And I think that's what the human in the loop there is just our sort of constant feedback to the system and training it to become better.
Absolutely. One last question, I'll throw it over to Rob. ESG data, you've been in the industry longer than I have, for sure, both on the technology component and the subject matter area of ESG. So there's been some challenging years for ESG in terms of bad data. So how does this help OWL get ahead of the rest with our MRC technology?
Yeah.
And
yeah, no, for sure. And I think a lot of it has to do with, the sheer effort it requires to extract good data, right? Traditionally it's massive teams of people, viewing and reviewing documents, multiple documents. And just think about how many companies there are out there and how often these documents are released, it's actually, man hours wise, or people hour wise, it's massive. And our technology enables us to shorten that time, and to be able to get to results without with minimal error over time, and get better at that and shorten that. And really it reduces the costs of that extraction process. I think there are benefits that come out of that. One is sheer cost. The other is really to enable our users to be able to focus on the data itself, right? And really focus on the job of leveraging the data into extracting information and insight. So I think that's what it is.
Nice. That's great.
Well, so that's cool. So building on that, what are you working on now? What are you most excited about that's going on at the moment?
Oh gosh, we're there's so much going on right now. I think for us at OWL, at the very core of it is we're a data company, right? And I think right now a lot of what we're working on is to enable the users of our data to get to the data more quickly and get to the insights that they need and the information that they want. And as I mentioned earlier, to be able to generate the outputs that they need in doing what they're doing. And so that's, I think, what's really exciting, because until the users start using our data, they're not going to get the maximum value out of our data.
Okay, I like that. What do
Yeah,
you? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rob. No, Rob, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what you got a big smile when you're talking about that. What part makes you the most excited about it?
Let's see. We are releasing several applications currently, over the next couple of months, and we really think that these applications are going to bring massive value to our users. I think in various different areas too, because ESG means very different things to many different types of people. And whether you're in asset management, wealth management, or just trying to conduct research on ESG, right? We actually are going to have a product for you within the next few months.
Awesome. So let me ask a question. I asked the same thing with Ben. Just for aspiring CTOs that are out there, right? So guys or gals that are listening to us and thinking about, hey, I want to go into the tech field. One of the things that you and I and Ben talk about all the time is, let's not try to find a problem for our solution. Let's go out there and figure out what the problem is, right? So how do we go about doing that at OWL? How do we zero in on our client issues and problems, and then bring the technology to bear to help solve that problem versus reversing that process? So that's the first part of the question. So I'll let you answer that first.
Yeah, so I think really understanding who our users are, the users of our data is really important. And I think what's more important there is really having frank conversations with them and understanding what their workflows are. And naturally, I think a lot of the problems that we're trying to solve emerge very organically. And from there, I think the focus should be sort of relentless pursuit of just bringing value to them, right? To be able to help them solve these headaches. And I think that's really it. A lot of times it's very easy to look at something and say, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have this? You really have to go back to the user and think about whether or not that's going to solve their problems or not.
Yes. And let me tell everybody listening, Andrew is relentless on this, and it makes our products better. And in all seriousness, you're like, well, Nate, what are we doing here? And zeroing in that banter that we have, it drives us all parts of the company to go back and make sure we're actually bringing value to our customers, and not just doing cool things that people may or may not use. And so That's been a great part of being part of OWL ESG and working closely with Andrew on that. Second part of my question, you run a global team. What are your tips? You know, I do a lot of Red Bull. I don't know what you do. You got people all over the place, clients all over the place. With kids and all that, it's truly a challenge. So, any tips or tricks?
I think it's really to embrace the fact that we're all remote and global, right? And I think a lot of the times, when processes don't work, it's not that there's anything wrong with the people. It's that the processes don't work for the team, right? And so it's a matter of evolving your processes to fit your team. And I think once you're able to embrace the sort of what your team is, then a lot of these everything will flow smoothly. No. It's a little zen, but that's really what it is.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
It makes sense. So I want to come back to something you said a little while ago. You're talking about our different client profiles. And obviously when they talk about ESG investing, it means something different to them. And then something that Nate and I have talked about is sort of the politicization of the term ESG. Without wading into either of those waters, just what does ESG mean to you?
I think to me, ESG is about, really getting a better understanding of what we're doing from a company, organizational, corporate level. The more there is available for us to look at, and this is one of the reasons why we sort of pursue this transparency within our data, is really trying to, for us to be able to just look at that and gain our own insights into what's going on, right? Again, if you care about climate, right, you're able to gain insight about that through climate data. If you care about the social aspects of, what companies are doing, right, then you would look at that aspect. And I think, without that foundation, it's really hard to get a glimpse of what's really going on right now in the world.
So that's an awesome answer. Follow-up question. How, and I think I know where you're going to go with this, but I got to ask it. How do you see OWL forwarding that mission?
I think that for OWL, again, we're trying to present the most accurate, the most up-to-date data. We're frequently refreshing that and working with various different parties to make it available for anyone that's really looking for our data. And if you want to be part of that, you should be looking at our data.
Yeah, absolutely. I assume that's where you're going, but I gotta
Yep, but yeah, the more we talk about it, the more we are able to share, and the more we're able to really, make it available. I think that's where we're gonna get the most impact out of the ESG data.
I agree. Yeah, I believe it's true. It's objective. Our data is the cleanest, the freshest out there. And Andrew, you do a lot behind the scenes, my friend, to make that possible. And I thank you for coming on and giving us a little peek as to what goes on behind the scenes here at OWL. But I think we're going to end with some lightning round questions, right?
Always.
Yeah.
You ready?
So I'll let you start. Yeah.
All right, I'll jump on the first one. What is your, and this can be LA based or worldwide, favorite restaurant?
Oh gosh, that's really.
And you said you're a foodie, so I'm really holding you to this one.
It's really tough because I like to eat so much.
Awesome.
But one of my favorites, I won't go into actual favorites because that's just gonna be too difficult. But one of my favorites is actually a local restaurant here called Shunji, and it's a sushi restaurant.
Okay.
And the food is absolutely phenomenal. They have very, very interesting sort of creations. If you guys are in town, we gotta go hit it up.
Definitely.
Well, both Ben and you talk about sushi, and so I haven't been to LA in a long time, but I'm gonna find a way to come out there for some reason so I can eat some sushi with you guys. The way you guys talk about sushi, and I love sushi too, but I think here in Dallas, I don't think we have
Yeah, I
anything
feel
in
like
LA.
maybe I've not had it. I'm with you, Nate.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'm not sure what lake we get our sushi out of here in Dallas, but you know, I gotta get this stuff. So, real quick question, another one. You're a busy man, you're a family man, you're a CTO. What do you do when you have any spare time? 30 minutes, a couple hours on the weekends. What do you do?
What do I do? I spend a lot of time with my kids. I really truly enjoy spending time with them, whether we're, just reading, playing games, just going out for a hike, etc. That's really what I do.
Right. That works.
All right. So what
Go
is your favorite sport to play and to watch? And you can explain your favorite teams.
Let's see. So to play, I primarily play tennis and basketball. These are my two sports. And to watch, I really do enjoy watching basketball. And I don't have a particular team. People around here are going to kill me.
You've got a series
I was
coming
going to say,
up.
aren't the Lakers? Yeah, Lakers are playing right now. So
Yeah, but I think originally I was a Bulls fan, and it's really hard to change that. Even though I don't necessarily get to follow them as much anymore.
yeah, Bulls are a solid choice though.
Yeah.
Epic. All right. One other question. If you could go anywhere in the world, where and why? So Rob, is this anywhere he's been before or just anywhere he hasn't been before?
I think it's wide open. However you
Wide
interpret.
open. All right. You go anywhere. Where would you go?
This is like what the thing about this is that this question sounds like it would be something that requires a lot of effort, and not something that I can just, go and visit very easily.
So that's fair. Like, assume you have $1 billion and you can snap your fingers, it's put together.
To be honest, I'm actually really interested in going to Antarctica.
I've thought about that actually. Yeah.
You can do a cruise there from, I think, Charleston, South Carolina for $9,000 a person, a 3-week cruise.
Really?
Yeah, I've looked into it. There's a disc golf course there, believe it or not. I haven't played in a long time, but I'm like, if I go to Antarctica, I'm definitely playing disc golf while I'm there.
Wow.
That's amazing.
You learn something new every day. I did not know that.
Like discgolf.com or something, it's something like that, but they have the descriptions of all the courses and it'll list like hazards and problems. And some it's like, a lot of mosquitoes in June or not a lot of shade, course gets hot. And then the Antarctica one, it's like -40-degree wind chill. Winds can reach 70 miles an hour unexpectedly. Whiteout conditions can cause you to get lost in sub-zero temperatures. So I was like, all right, that sounds fun.
Wow.
We have 4 sets of backup in case you lose a disc and can't retrieve it, right?
All right. So last lightning round question. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Oh, this is gonna be interesting. I think maybe it's not as controversial, but I am a big fan of Hawaiian pizza. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And so, people tell me that we shouldn't be having pineapple on it. I respectfully disagree.
I'm with you 100%. So I'm actually a jalapeno pineapple person.
Oh, yes, that is good.
Yeah, pineapples are amazing on pizza. Yeah, I don't know why it's so controversial. I love it too. So
because it's delicious and people are crazy. That's my name. All right. So just before we go, the last thing we always like to ask is for everyone watching this, what's your message? What should we look for from OWL? What should we look for next? What's next for Andrew Koo? Something inspirational?
Yeah, I think we talked about a lot of different things. It's without a doubt we're going to be releasing some really interesting things in the next couple of months. So do follow us on what we're doing. Other than that, just it's one of the reasons why I joined a company dealing with ESG. Just do some good to the world and make a difference.
Hey, it comes down to that. If everyone listened, imagine the place this could be. Something that simple. Andrew, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure having you on. Look forward to getting you on again, maybe to talk about a product coming up sometime soon. But thank you so much. I'm Rob Yates.
And this is Nate Giraro. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Have a wonderful day.